这知音之歌是越传越广，越传越广。在之前，我冥冥中感到有事情出了。
One day, the classmate who had made a transistor radio for Renyi ran up and said to him, "The enemy radio is playing the Song of Youth." Renyi knew disaster was coming.
莫斯科广播电台是8月份播的，美国之音是10月份播的。我的汗把整个身子都潮掉了，我也感到事情出了。当时我做了一件什么事呢？自首。美国之音和莫斯科广播电台都播过以后，我去自首。5月24号，就是我写歌的1周年。我看到我的死刑判决书了。5月24号，就是由南京市军事管制委员会，它全称叫中国人民解放军南京市军事管制委员会，判处仁义死刑，立即执行。
In the end, the district commander, General Xu Shuyou, decided not to carry out the sentence, and Renyi kept his life. Renyi was lucky. University of Chicago scholar Wang Youqin, in her book Victims of the Cultural Revolution, wrote of Zuo Shutang from Shanghai. Because Zuo Shutang listened to enemy radio, he had his house ransacked, was interrogated in isolation, and beaten to death. The person who exposed him was also interrogated in isolation, and after his release wandered homeless and eventually killed himself.
是社会的文化、社会的道德、社会的政治造成的，不是杀几个人能够解决的。这个你说他偷听电台我枪毙掉了，下回没人听，还是有人听。
Zhang Yicai, now retired, worked in an appliance factory in Hangzhou. In 2001, Hangzhou police searched his home and found a program schedule sent by the Voice of America.
后来问我，你懂这个美国之音？我说电台我经常听，啊。不要但现在听，我现在还都听，我现在有2个半导体了，我都在听。你国家允许的，他又不是反动组织。
The Hangzhou Municipal Public Security Bureau's Labor Education Supervisory Committee sentenced Zhang Yicai to 2 years forced labor. One charge was listening to Voice of America and contacting its Beijing office by letter and telephone.
怎么会美国之音变成国内的反动组织？反动组织能够摆到北京吗？
Zhang Yicai did not accept his sentence. While in the labor camp, he petitioned the judicial authorities to review his case, but each application he sent disappeared without a trace.
我上诉复议了，向省、向市复议，他们都给扣押起来，把我的信扣押掉。
After serving his sentence, Zhang Yicai continued to try to have his case reheard. He wrote application after application, accusing the Hangzhou Police Department of improper enforcement.
每个公安领导都接待过我的，我就反映公安犯罪的事情，是吧？特别是这个反动组织，我年纪大了，我怎么还戴个反动帽子，还要离开人世啊？
Currently, Zhang Yicai continues every day to work on his petitions for appeal.
我肯定要搞清楚了，你要给我一个清白。我再有一口气，我就要跑。
From Voice of America's first day of operation, several countries saw it as enemy radio. The first of these were fascist Germany and Japan.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked.
Voice of America was founded in 1942. It began with broadcasts to Germany and Japan in German and Japanese. Japan had forbidden listening to enemy radio broadcasts, and violators could be sentenced by the court to death. While China fought to resist Japan, VOA's Chinese broadcast supplied valuable news of the outside world. At that time, America and China were allies against the fascists. And the communist leader Mao Zedong even said, "The American people are the Chinese people's good friend. The goal our party is struggling for is to overturn the reactionary nationalist dictatorship and set up an American-style democratic system. But before the communists took full power in 1949, the party leader Mao Zedong had already decided to join the socialist camp led by the Soviet Union and to throw in completely with the Soviets. On March 13, 1949, in his summary report to the 7th session of the Second Plenum of the Central Committee, he said, "China and the Soviet Union are like brothers. We must stand together in a united front. We are allies." On August 18, 1949, Mao Zedong wrote a blistering essay for the Xinhua news agency titled "Farewell, Leighton Stewart," attacking America's China policy and the American ambassador, stating, "American imperialism has lost all the credit it once had with the Chinese people." The United States had become what Chinese officialdom called the world's most reactionary, most barbarian, and most aggressively imperialist nation, and the greatest enemy of the people of China and the people of the world. It was now that the Communist Party labeled the Voice of America enemy radio. In November and December of 1950, the Xinhua news agency's internal reference report published a series of articles that said, "The cities of Tianjin, Shanghai, Wuhan, Wuxi, Hangzhou, Xi'an, Changsha, Taiyuan, and others are full of people who are listening to the Voice of America." These articles also reported, ordinary businessmen think Voice of America news is quick and reliable, as it reported early the loss of Seoul and Pyongyang, while our papers were slow. Some people were starting to doubt the reports in official media. News from the Voice of America was circulated by word of mouth and circulated very widely. On November 20th, 1950, the People's Daily and other party papers started reporting with great fanfare that people in all walks of life demand a stop to listening to Voice of America, to end the rumors spread by enemy spies. Tsinghua University professor Sheng Chenghua wrote an article saying Voice of America was a nastier weapon than the atom bomb. Students all over China marched in the streets to warn the masses against the Voice of America. Yang Kui-sung, a historian of the Chinese Communist Party, has written, "Gradually, choosing whether to listen to Voice of America became a major political question of patriotism, even a kind of decision point between being revolutionary and counter-revolutionary. Listening to the Voice of America became secret listening to the Voice of America." In 1955, China began jamming the Voice of America. The method was to broadcast meaningless noise or another radio station on the same frequency. In the 1960s, the United States fell into a long war in Vietnam. Mao Zedong sent 300,000 troops to resist America and help Vietnam, and the enmity between China and America grew deeper. In the early 1970s, to counter the Soviet threat, China and America improved their relations. In 1972, the American President Richard Nixon visited China. And in 1973, the American government established a liaison office in Beijing. The two countries, enemies for 20 years, were now rebuilding lines of communication.
尼克森从中国回来之后，我们当时那个中文部的那个头，他是从台湾回来，他是外交官啦，从台湾回来。他说，在台湾用的这个一本教材很好，他说不妨我们试一试。
In 1972, Voice of America began its program English 900.
何立达主持播讲英语900句。
That year, a Beijing youth, the 20-year-old Ping De, enlisted in the People's Liberation Army. His first job was to care for the horses in an army farm outside Beijing. One day, a fellow soldier gave him a copy of the book English 900.
这个书呢，来源还很不容易，因为当时呢，中国在这个文革后期嘛，逐渐的和外部世界又有了一些联系。据当时我们这个战友讲呢，是说因为好像中国的一些外交领导人到这个联合国去，这样的话才把这个英语900句这本书给带回到中国来，在当时所谓叫内部教材。后来人家就跟我讲，他说美国之音是有这个英语900句的这个课程的广播，这样我就开始跟着这个学，还专门去买了一个小的收音机，60-70块钱，在那个时候还是一个很贵的、很奢侈的这么一个家用电器吧。那时候单位里头也很明确，就是说鼓励大家学英语，但是呢，就明确说呢，不可以收听敌台。
Ping De was well aware that VOA was enemy radio, but he was hungry to learn. At that time, he was living by himself in a horse barn. During the day, he dealt with the horses, and at night, he listened to English 900. In his words, I felt I was living like a noble. It was beautiful. Later, he was transferred to the electricians' squad. Listening to enemy radio in a place with so many people, with eyes everywhere, was very difficult.
We paid them for the last semester.
那怎么办呢？那我就是说，钻到被窝里边去，带上一个耳塞机，去听这个课程。但是呢，毕竟好多时候呢，还是需要把它念出来，因为你学英语嘛，你这种模仿是必不可少的。最后都没办法了，正好那时候在夏天的时候嘛，我就带上收音机，拿个手电，再拿着书，然后悄悄的就跑到我们这个夏天的时候，旁边都种的是那种主要都种的是玉米，它那个秸秆很高，所以钻到玉米地里头以后是别人也不知道你在那里，你就在那里学就可以。
They sent us a bill for the new semester.
Only 2 semesters a year.
Ping De recalled, one time when I came out of the cornfield to go back to my dorm, I was tailed for a long time by the night patrol. Maybe he suspected I was dating a female soldier. In fact, the trouble you'd get into from being caught listening to enemy radio would certainly be much worse than being caught on a date with a woman.
用当时的话说叫上纲上线，所谓上纲上线就是说你如果要是收听敌台，那你就是一个很可能是一个通敌分子，那处罚是很严厉的。回想起来 ，English 900也学了有半年多呢，坚持下来也是挺不容易的。是何里达的，每次结束的时候，他就是讲这里是美国之音的英语900句课程，何里达在华盛顿主持播讲。
说实话，我自己本人并没有想到，做的一个很成功的一个美国之音的一部分。第一，我觉得那时候的时机很好，那我相信播报的声音呢还是不错。我对于这个节目呢也非常有兴趣，也用了一些脑筋，所以我看这就是成功一个因素。主要的我还是觉得那时候大陆真是